What's going up, guys? I am just firing up 6 tables here. Looks like a good spot to get in here early. We got queens all in pre-flop versus short stack with 7-8 off. Let's see if we can hold. Flop's a 7. He needs a 7 or an 8. And a good start to the session. Actually, thought I was recording here a couple minutes ago. And realized that I just forgot to hit record, so I got a little practice. Got the 6 tables fired up. Looks like we got all 50 NLs here. All 6 max, although a few of them are much shorter than that. So let's play and explain. We've done a few of these already. I tried to record a sit and go one the other day and just realized, man, I don't know what I'm doing at all in sit and goes. So I'll study up a little bit and maybe put one of those out here in the future. But I'm pretty bad at sit and goes. I don't even know like push fold range. I don't play tournaments. 99.9% of my money has come from cash games over the last 19 years of poker. Holy cow. Up on table 1, we got a guy flopping a straight flush and a guy slapping the second nut flush. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I had a couple big tournament scores in my poker career. Won like 72,000 in one day at a Poker Stars. We're obviously going to pop up the kings here. We'll 5x to a cutoff limp. Won like 72,000 in a day off a $200 tournament back in the Poker Stars Sunday. It's like a weekly $200 tournament. I got third. The crazy thing about it was I felt like I lost money though. Start with a small bet here, especially with the king of hearts. We'll go a little smaller. Snap call. We're beating a lot of hands here. 2 calls. There's definitely worse turns and definitely better turns. I'm gonna go ahead and check here now. It's 3-handed, kind of just see what everybody does, get some more information. I had a big chip lead. That's one of the worst decks in the river, or one of the worst rivers in the deck. Go ahead and check again. Hope we can still win a lot here and show down 8 9s, 10 jacks, hands like that. This kind of sucks. I have him labeled as a weak player. You're just kind of hopping on here. He's can't find a lot of bluffs here, unfortunately. I mean, I guess he can have just naked jacks that he chooses to check back, but I feel like, man, it's really optimistic thinking we're ever good here. I'm gonna go ahead and let it go. Yeah, the thing was I remember winning the 72,000 off a $200 tournament, but it sent me into a funk for like 2 weeks because I had a massive chip lead 3-handed and it was 202,000 for first. And that's when I realized, like, man, I just really don't like tournaments. Like, unless you get first, you just always kind of, it should have been a great day to win 70-some thousand, and it literally put me in a tailspin for a month or so. Just couldn't get over the fact that I felt like I lost 130,000. And so not a big fan of tournaments. Don't play them very often. Really like cash games. I like that you can kind of come and go as you please too. I'm just going to bet here with a gut shot, really small stack. I'm going to poke really small, like 20-25% pot. Just try and fold out like 6s, 7s, things like that. And here, I'm actually going to 3-bet versus this guy with the ace jack off. I think calling's fine because we got 2 weaker players here too. And we turn the jack up on table 2, just an easy check back. We're beating a lot of hands now. If he checks to us, I'll probably go for a little values. I think he leads all aces. Here he just cold calls the 3-bet, pots into us on a 6, 7, 8. I'm just happy to fold. And I'm gonna go for a small value bet here and just, and I would have called the 6s there. And we do get called, which is nice. Something I gotta do better at is trying not to time out. And that game broke, so we're gonna move another table in. So this will be a full ring 50 NL. But I do think it's important there to bet that jack. Just thinking through the hand, he's always gonna bet an ace there, and he actually has king 10. So we do get another small bet there paid off, which is always nice. We flop top pair here. I think it's fine to put in a raise. He has 30 big blinds. Don't really want to play for stacks though at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and just start with a check call. He checks back. The 10 getting there is not a great card for us. We're just gonna go ahead and check and decide. He did pay off light last time, but I think those guys are usually, players that are playing with 30 big blinds usually aren't going to like run a sophisticated bluff here. They're going to be pretty honest. I could go, I think that would be fine, but I'm fine just checking there too. Looks like we're now heads up on this table. We'll open the ace-5 off on the button. I'll continue to play heads up down here. I actually do really like full ring a lot. Probably my main game for a long time. Probably the best with ranges and full ring and things like that. So that's table 6 down here is a full ring game. It's kind of a bummer. The biggest game they run full ring on WSOP is 50 and L. So I would definitely play much higher if they ran full ring bigger games, but they don't. I've emailed them maybe like 7 times about it. Like, hey, why don't you guys do this? They don't really care what I think though. I've had a couple comments on that I played tight or whatnot. I think, guys, I'm just going to highlight here, folding the ace-7 off under the gun should be mandatory. You don't want to be opening weak. The weakest ace I'll open there is an ace-10 from under the gun. Good flop here, 10-10-4. We're ahead a lot. Just going to start with a pretty small c-bet. Under half pot. He snaps. I think we're ahead quite often, and I'm going to go for another small bet and get to showdown. Here we get an open under the gun, the small stack calling, really good spot. I'm going to squeeze pretty small here. It can look like I'm just squeezing to try and get in. Oh, oops, I want to bet one more time small here. Flop and top set's a pretty good result, and we're going to check back the 5s here. Hope that we win against a 4 or some other random high card call, and that's what happens. Good news. I'm literally going to do something here crazy and bet like $1.33 as we flop top set. Hope that he does something crazy and moves in. He just folds. Definitely can note this player is just super weak. Easy fold there. This player right here on table 2 is a regular in the game. Normally, he opens a little too much, but he's somewhat snug. But like a couple weeks ago, he just went crazy and started open shoving on every table for like 20 minutes. That was pretty nice. We'll obviously open ace deuce on the button. Here, limp under the gun. I'm actually going to fold the 4s. Don't think it's going to play well. I'm going to be out of position the whole hand. I'd prefer to 3-bet it if I had to play the pot. I don't know much about this opponent or this opponent, so I'm just going to go ahead and take the passive line. I'm only in for a half big blind and fold. And checking back the ace deuce here. We're just going to try and take this to showdown now. We have top pair. If he doesn't have a diamond, we're probably pretty good. I think it's also super fine to just make a small bet on the flop. And here I think we're winning a lot, but I'm not going to value bet. Probably a hand where maybe we could win a big blind if we value bet. I'm not sure. But I'm okay just checking that back with the 4-liner to the flush. If anybody's watching this for the first time, I've put out a few other poker streams. I'm in the midst of doing a poker bankroll challenge too, where my wife and I paid off a bunch of farmland. It's our biggest investment probably. We own a $1 million farm back in Illinois. We cash rent it out every year as a really good source of passive income. To pay it all off here about 4 or 5 months ago, I emptied my poker bankroll. I was keeping way too much. I don't play big games anymore. In poker, I tend to play much smaller games now. And so I emptied the clip and paid that off. And so now I'm rebuilding my bankroll from 3K up to 100K. I currently sit at like 10.2, somewhere around there. He goes with a large sizing here. I was going to say if he goes a real small sizing, I check raise this sometimes. I'm going to go ahead and fold to that size. And we'll open the 4-7. Bottom pair, 4-way limp pot. Nothing to do but check. I've was a poker pro for 9.5 years. Back then I used to study a lot off the table and put a lot of work in, playing, 60, 70, 80, 100-hour weeks sometimes. Now, I have 3 kids, run a business, a lot of other priorities will top poker, but I still really love playing. We've lived in Vegas now, it's 37 months. I just cashed out a decent amount here the first week of January, and so this will be the 37th month in a row I'll book a win, but I do tend to play small stakes games I can beat. Here's a spot where I'm going to go ahead and squeeze. This is where I folded the 4s. I like playing the ace queen, just has a lot better playability. Whenever players limp, he tends to be choosing this size, and so we can win 225, 225 plus 50. We can win 7, 8, 9 big blinds here. It's a decent result if they fold. Ace queen is going to play fine if we get looked up. Good flop. Nice to have an ace in the window. Pretty much with my entire range here, even if I have kings or anything. I see this guy on a lot of tables, so I'm assuming he's a regular. I'm going to start with a very small bet. And good result as we take it down. I think it's important there not to call too and just try and make a hand. You want to take control of the pot. with the ace queen, you're likely to be ahead of what he's punishing a limper with. It's important to 3-bet there, get more money in. We defend the ace 4 off. We flop bottom pair. This is a guy that likes to keep firing and firing and firing. Gonna C1. I don't expect him to slow down a lot, but I like having the ace here. So if we turn the ace, it's a card he'll represent and he'll bomb. It's a real good river. I couldn't pick a better river in the deck. I don't think he has a lot, so I'm actually going to choose a pretty small sizing here. If he has a 4, he'll raise me, but he's not the player to slow down or like check a jack back here, so I'm actually going to go with the real small sizing. Try and get looked up really light. And he quickly folds. He's also not the kind of player to just check back and then bomb the river. He bombs when he goes for it. So that's why I didn't want to check that river to him, even with a massive hand. So I play in these games a decent amount. My preferred game here online is 100 NL. But a lot of times I play during the day. Like right now when my kids are napping, I looked, there was only one game of 100 NL going. So I'd be, if I was not recording this, I'd just be playing the one game of 100 NL and then 9 games of 50 NL. Or I've been adding in some PLO. Really, really small stakes PLO every now and then. I'm not good at it at all, but I really enjoy thinking through some of the spots and trying to get better and learn. I think I've probably played 10, 12, 14 million hands of No Limit at this point in my poker career. I was a Supernova Elite grinder back in the day before Black Friday. With the Ace of Diamonds, here's a guy that doesn't fold either, but I'm definitely going to call 2 overs to the 6 and the 7 and the Ace of Diamonds. Pretty slam dunk call here. If he checks to us now, it's interesting because he's not the kind of guy who's going to want to fold a 7 here unless I put a lot of heat on. And an open and a 3-bet here, we're just going to fold the ace 6. I'm going to go ahead and check back. Ace high can be good here. Now he's definitely never going to fold a 6 or a 7, so we're just going to take our showdown. I think we win part of the time. He has, there we go, king jack. So we do win some of the time, so I don't need to turn that hand into a bluff. If I have a hand like 4-5 there, I'll start bluffing on the turn. And we get 3-bet and cold called, and we have 9-10 suited. We're going to go ahead and see a flop here. Hope to smash it. We do not. And we'll obviously start with a check. We'll take a check through and the 8 of hearts on the turn, please. Here we got a guy limping the button. We have 8-9 of diamonds. I think it's fine to complete. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up in 6x here. Start to tell a story. Nothing to do here but fold. When he 3-bets my under the gun open, gets cold called by a guy who never folds, and then leads into us on this board, I just don't see much else to do. And I'm actually going to fold the ace 10 off here with under the gun open. If he's opening, and well, there's a good result when he shoves through, but I didn't even really notice the short stack. I was just doing it thinking I'm not really ahead of his opening range there. Here we've got an open and a small blind squeeze, and we're going to fold the ace 9 suited. And fine result is he limps the button and then folds to the 6x. Really, when guys are limping the button or limping the cutoff here from these stakes, they just don't have much often, and so you can really take advantage of that. And you can see I 6x the 8-9 suited there. It's a good result to just win, a couple big blinds for free without a showdown. I'm just going to call here. This player's marked as weaker. I was going to say we're going to flop the nut flush, but we're going to flop the nut flush draw and turn the nut flush. That's going to be the plan. We're going to start with a very small bet. We don't mind getting check raised here. This player will probably be pretty honest with what he has, and so really no bad results as we bet that flop. If he check raises us, cool. Probably got a big hand, and we're drawn to the nuts. If he just folds out a small pair or something, cool. Looks like we have a guy here with one big blind who opened, and then a guy who called. Ace jack suited here figures to be the best hand. I'm going to go ahead and 3-bet this up, and I would have called there. Got to get better at not timing out. So we get it all in pre versus the king 7 off, and see if we hold. We do. And so it's nice to have a little bit more dead money in there. And again, ace jack suited there when a guy's opening with one big and the other guy doesn't 3-bet. We just figure to be miles ahead. So I think it's fine to win the dead money in there and just go heads up. We don't have to make a pair there then, which is nice. So yeah, I do, really take a lot of pride in my fatherhood, my marriage game now. I share every day on Twitter and run a coaching and consulting business. But I still really, really love the game. And I joke that I'd even play if it was like 1 cent, 2 cent was the biggest games. I just really enjoy playing. We flop the overpair here with queens. We're going to start with just a half pot C bet. Start to see what we got. And then we had a weaker player here limp under the gun. King queen miles ahead of his limping range. I think I have noted that this guy limps like 9 deuce suited in calls, which is funny because now there's a 9 deuce flop. But we flop top pair, nothing to do here except start betting. I'm going to size down a little with the queen of clubs. Fine with him calling his random stuff there when we flop top pair, backdoor clubs. But yeah, I really, really enjoy the game of poker. Really profitable side hustle for me. Haven't played professionally in, man, I'm old now. I'm 39, just turned 39 last month. So I haven't been a pro in 9 years. We turn the nuts here, nothing to do but start betting. Go 2/3 pot on a drawy board. And hope we get raised or at least called. And king. Spot where I could check if I think he missed some draws and go for a big check raise. Which I think I'm going to do, actually. He does call light, though, and even if he has like a 6, I think I can get looked up here. But I'm going to go ahead and check to him. Hope that he takes the bait and bets, and he does. He goes pot, which is really nice when you're sitting there with the nuts. He's the player that will tend to bluff if he misses. Now we just want to go big and hope that he hit that king. He has like a 2-pair type hand that he just won't fold. Our line looks super fishy, too. As we bet and then check to him. He doesn't know this, but I'm literally never going to bluff him in this spot. He's a player that I just have marked as a station. So I'll literally have 0 bluffs here. I think it's okay to have spots where you have 0 bluffs in games like this. And top pair, top kicker, I'm going to start with a slightly little bigger bet because I don't think this player's ever going to fold like 7s, 8s, 9s to that bet there, that size too. Yeah, I hear some players say, well, what are my bluffs in that spot, or what do I do? And look, I'm going to be honest. If I'm playing a little higher, I'll play 200 in L, or a little bit bigger games with better players. Sometimes I'm going to very much worry about staying balanced in a lot of spots versus good players. But a guy I really like, and he puts out really great content online, is Ben CB. And he talks about this a lot where, look, man, like if the player's just concerned that he has a top pair and he's never going to fold, you don't need to be balanced. And a lot of guys in these games, especially the weaker players, they're not thinking about what you have, what your range is, any of these things. So you can really exploit a lot of those things. You don't need to stay super balanced. Here he just snap calls. I think he can have a wide variety of hands. I want to start to put some heat on everything that's not King X, even if he has King X. So I'm going to go about 80% pot here and hopefully fold out everything that's not King X. Even if he calls with King X, we're still fine with an over in the nut flush draw. We can even get money in pretty good if he has like a 4-6 of clubs or some hand like that. This guy 4X is the cutoff, and he only has 20 big blinds. I'm folding A7. And we have a limp under the gun and a squeeze, and we're going to pop it up with kings. And I'm going to show down here. So I don't expect to fold that hand out, which is fine. But again, we had fine equity on it. And I think I fold out everything on the turn there except the king. So pretty fine with my line there. Ace jacks, slam dunk open. This guy limps the cutoff. And again, we're going to go ahead and pop this up with the deuces and flop a deuce. Complete here. So we had a limp under the gun full ring. Looks like a reg close to 4X, and we get another reg calling, or at least a guy with more than 100 bigs. And then we squeeze it down. Got shot to the nuts here. We would have called the min bet, but when a player again with 24 big blinds now raises, nothing we can do. And we'll complete here with the king 10 off. Fine either way here. I'm just going to go with a small bet, hope that he missed, and hope that we win the pot. We do have the deuce of clubs, but I'm not going to go crazy starting to bluff a guy like this. We'll probably just try and get to showdown, win versus ace high or something like that, unless there's definitely some rivers here I consider bluffing. Mainly like a jack or an ace if he checks. I think he'll play pretty honest. When he pots it into us, nothing to do but fold. We go ahead and open the 9-10 off, blind versus blind. We got the 9-10 jack, 3-way straight. We're going to start with a small bet. Hope that he missed too. He did. Nice result. Queen jack off is an open from the cutoff. And the ace and hearts, we can go either way here. Got 2 regs in the small blind and big blind, so I'm going to go ahead and 3-bet. And the king jack off. I'm actually gonna go ahead and fold that time. This guy has 14 bigs. I'm, again, not a great tournament player. I don't really know how you're supposed to play these spots. I'm just gonna start with a really small bet. I mean, I really don't even know if he's ever gonna fold like sixes there to a small bet. It always helps when you turn the straight. That's always a good thing. So I think I can check or bet. Just not great at playing against short stacks. He's got like 7 big blinds, so just go ahead and throw him in now and hope he calls. And I'm actually going to check back the ace here and play a little deceptive. Again, I think in a spot like this, and he went ahead and called with the jack 9 there, so we got all 3 streets. Great result. Here I think I can definitely start betting. I've got an 8 to the straight. I want to size down a little bit here. Still make it look like maybe I can be afraid of the ace, or maybe I have top set. Who knows? That's a real bad river for my hand. Backdoor spades get there, and if he has an 8, it gets there. And when he donks into us, I'm just going to go ahead and fold. Sometimes when you check back on the flop there, you know, it can make it a little tricky, or you get a bad run out. I'm still fine with the way I played it. It's probably the worst river in the deck, completing both the draws. And here a 4x in the cutoff versus a guy who limps a lot. I'm just going to go ahead and fold king jack off. A lot of these guys will just tell you what their hands are. So I think you can make some pretty big folds. You see him limping the next hand, and I've noticed him limping several times, and all of a sudden he goes from limping to 4xing. And so I think you need to take note of that. The king jack really shrinks a lot. Plus you're out of position. So I think it's fine to just pitch it. Have this guy noted as never folding a pair. So our ace 10 looks a little bigger here, and we're gonna go ahead and size up for another street. If he'll pay off with like a 6 here, even like a pocket 8, something like that, cool. Some of these guys in this game who just don't fold. Our ace 10 definitely figures to be the best hand versus a guy who's calling super wide, doesn't fold a pair. And here ace queen, either way, 3-betted a lot. This time I'm just gonna call. We turn a queen, we got an option here to check raise or just go ahead and lead. I'm gonna go ahead and just lead and size up a little. He won't fold a queen. If he has like 10 jack, king jack, some hands like that, he might call. Some hands we can definitely get money in good. It's a really good safe river. And I'm gonna start over here with just a very small bet. So I opened under the gun and he called. I can miss a lot of draws here too. So I'm gonna go ahead and close to pot. I don't think he ever folds a queen. He might have a 10 jack or some kind of hand like that he's going to fold anyway. So if I don't think he's going to fold a queen there, I want to get the most I can. Perfect card to bluff here. Just go a little over half pot. Should hit me a lot more than him. This guy doesn't like folding, but that's just literally the perfect card. Not going to show him many bluffs, but I have to show him some. And the ace 8, easy defend. Can easily squeeze here, 3-bet. I'm just going to go ahead and call this time. Keep the pot small. And fold 7-8 suited here. I would squeeze, but this guy never folds to 3-bets, so I don't want to be playing 8 high out of position. And here we get a really good turn. I'm going to size up here quite a bit, actually, and even go over pot. There's just so many bad rivers. My king jack figures to be good. I want to get one more big street before the board changes. I mean, he can have king queen 8 9, every flush draw, clubs, spades. So I really want to make him pay to see that last card. I'll do that with all my sets, top 2 pairs, things like that too. And I'm just going to pitch that. That's probably the weakest hand I would do it with for value. And then some of the bluffs I could have there obviously are the huge draws myself. And put a lot of heat on his like queen jack, king jack type hand. So you guys want to be thinking about, you know, what they can have, what you can have, how those things interact. I kind of think there's like a level 1 type player who just kind of like what I was talking about earlier, these guys who just think, I have pocket 8s. Here's what the board is. Do I call? Do I, you know, they don't really think about what you might have, or, you know, that this guy is limping from under the gun. What's that mean, right? And then there's like the level 2 who starts to think about what you're thinking about. I'm going to go ahead and pop this up with the 8s. Figures to be way ahead of his limping range and his button limping behind range. So it's important to note some of those guys, right? You know, you don't want to bluff some of the guys who are just only thinking about their hand and never going to fold. Really good spot here. We flopped the second nuts. Really dynamic board, so I'm going to go ahead and bet big. Let's just hope he has pocket 5. I was going to say let's hope he has pocket 5s. Let's hope he does not have pocket 5s. The ace queen here. I'm gonna go ahead and 3-bet this under the gun opener. I think it's fine to check here. I'm locked in. I think it's also fine with a small bet. I'm gonna go ahead and check. I don't know this player a lot, but I think my line can look now like I'm a little afraid. He does check back, sadly. And I think it's just slam dunk value town now. I don't think he folds a jack much. It's not a bad spot to check either, though. He does have a jack himself. He might value bet. I'm actually just going to go big, though. I think he'll pay off any jack. He pretty much snaps it, which makes me think I could have gone bigger or maybe even checked. I'll see what he has. I just call the ace queen here versus this guy because he never opens. He limps like 80% of hands, and again, now he's opening. So I'm gonna have to have a really huge hand to 3-bet him. He just pots on the 7 jack jacks. I'm actually just gonna fold. I'm never gonna try and move him off a hand like even 8s, 9s, 10s there. There's just even if I call and the turn's like a diamond, I don't really want to start bluffing and have to put in 70 big blinds hoping a guy who never folds. So you start to think how I kind of see through, you know, I want to see the next steps. I'm not just thinking about what I have now, but when the board changes or this or that. I'm always trying to think about the next step ahead. And I think that's how you need to approach poker if you want to be successful. If you don't care and you're just one of these guys, I think more power to you that just likes to show up and play. That's cool too. That's why I really love poker. King high here, no real reason to bluff. And I'm going to punish the limper early on. I'm just going to check back the king high, and you can see he defends the small blind with a jack 4 suited. I mean, that's really good news for us and for everybody else playing. We fought middle pair on a big draw heavy board. I'm going to go ahead and start with a check. He actually called with 9 deuce offsuit. Or no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong hand. Okay, so he had queen jack offsuit. So he limp called 7x with queen jack offsuit. Didn't bet the turn. And a really nice flop up here for us. We'll start with a bet. So kind of surprising you check back the turn. When he goes full pot here, I'm just going to fold my 3rd pair. And maybe against a guy like that, I am glad I bet and probably could have gone even a little bigger. Some guys just like to pretty much call, but they don't thin value bet, or they don't look to even bet top pair when you check twice. So I think it's pretty fine. Here's our guy who, again, potted open earlier. Now he's just back to limping. I'm way ahead of his. You can see with ace 10 off, I feel vastly superior when he limps than when I have ace queen off and he opens, just because he opens so rarely. You got to think about frequencies. And if this guy's opening 5% of the time and he's, you know, limping 80% of the time and folding, you know, 15%, well, that 5%, man, is going to be pretty strong. Start with a bet. About half pot, he snaps it. We get a 3-bet here from the small blind. We're going to fold. He leads into me. It's pretty interesting here, really. This is the guy who's been short the whole time. He's got 28 bigs or something. I think ripping is fine because I think you can have ace 7, 5, 7, 8, 7. A lot of these hands, flush draw, and so just making him put it in. I mean, I don't see myself folding a river anyway, unless it's like a 7 or a 9. But I think I can get it in pretty good here. I'm just going to go ahead and put him in and see what happens. Yes, pocket 9, so that's a great result. And so that's kind of why I like ripping there. When he leads on that 8, yeah, sure, he can improve to 2 pair or something some of the time and you can be beat. But again, if I'm thinking ahead in the hand and I'm not going to fold the river anyway, I need to charge him for the rest of those draws. And that 8 definitely brought a big draw there. He goes pot, and we just have up and down with 2 flush draws. We're just going to fold it here. If I was thinking through this hand, I would have 5 or 6x the button when he limped the button. But I was too focused up here on table 3. Something I still need to get better at. I normally play 10 games at a time, which is the max here on WSOP. But I don't talk through it. This is now my 4th time talking through it, and so definitely miss a couple things. But something I think I'll get better at. I hope you guys are enjoying these. I'd be super grateful for any advice you could give me on what would make it better. You guys told me to tile the tables, so I did that, which was great. I'm actually going to check back here top pair on a top pair no kicker. I like to be sneaky in some spots like this at times. He leads out for like 80% pot, nothing to do here. Just call. Backdoor spades gets here, which should concern him if he thinks about that kind of thing. He's going close to full pot again. I'm more inclined to call here just because I check back. Usually 80% pots, like they have something pretty good, but I'm gonna go ahead and call. And so he rivers top 2. So we do check back there and then pay off twice. Maybe it's better to just start with a small bet and keep control of the pot. But I do like to check back sometimes with top pair no kick, just kind of somewhat, you know, I don't just want to bet when I have it, not bet when I don't, especially against a guy with, you know, 130 big blinds who looks like he might know what he's doing a little bit. I'm not sure though. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions or improvements, I'm really always open to feedback. I tiled the tables. I took out the chat so we don't have to block out as much. I still don't really want to show my name. I think when I hit the 100K mark, I'll be fine to reveal my name then. But I really think it's a massive, it could be a massive disadvantage if somebody happens to like, I have 104,000 followers on Twitter now or something like that. And if one of these guys just happens to be watching and I say, oh, I never bluffed that guy, and then he knows who I am and who he is, can massively get exploited that way. So kind of want to keep it in check of who I am right now. He limp calls. We flop top pair cop ticker. Obviously, great flop. We'll start with a bet. 65, 70% pot. Be real happy if he clicks the call button. It's back to limping again. Same drill with the pocket kings, obviously. And we'll open king 4 suited here on the button if it's folded to us. Called in 2 ways, and it looks like we flop top set. Queen jack is the only hand that beats us, and we flop top 2 here. Start with a very small bet. There are spades. It's nice to get min raised here with top 2, and it's up a little bit. I'm actually in position, just gonna call here. I mean, obviously 3-5 beats us, pocket deuces beat us, but we're not too worried. He does pot it on the turn. I think nothing else to do here but call. I'm gonna start with a very small C bet. We don't hit, but he limp calls, no flush draws, anything like that. I don't think we need a massive bet. Now he checks to us. So we get both call. The flush comes in on the turn. I could think of many, many, many better rivers. And I think it's likely you could have ace deuce here. It's mainly the hand I'm going to try and target. About a 2/3 pot bet. I mean, I like his check there if he has ace king. You know, I can have ace king for sure. I'm going to check back and hope to fill. 2 players calling, the flush completes, and nothing to do here but fold. So he flopped top and bottom. This is real unfortunate as we get let into. Really good flop here as we flop second pair, top kicker, and the nut flush draw. And here we're going to go ahead and squeeze the ace queen. We figured it'd be the best from the cutoff. I'm actually going to, I think, fold this. This is really unfortunate, but man, when he pots and he calls, I don't see how either of them, one of them doesn't have a flush. I know we have top set. It's a great hand. But I just don't see us being good here. And there's the nut flush. Here we have every different option. I think it's totally fine to pop it, to call. I like popping it here because I think he can have queen jack. And we're going to fold the king queen off here. Queen jack of hearts, king jack of hearts, 7-8 of hearts, all these big hands where we can get him in just massive trouble. Of course, he can have sets and things like that. Or he can just have a 10. He's trying to protect it, which looks like he was. So really good result there to, I mean, there were better results, but fine with it there too. I wanted to see what the other guy called with. So we had the nut flush, and the other guy actually flopped the nuts. So wow, it was a good check back on the turn. We saved money. He had queen jack. But yeah, I think that's again where it's important. That's 40 big blinds where he leads on the river there. And a lot of people will just talk themselves into, well, I have top set, right? I mean, how do I fold top set? I flopped top set. How do I? And you have to remove yourself from that and just say, okay, what's the information I have now? Well, the information I have now is he's leading into 2 people pot, you know, when the flush got there. And so, you know, the other guy snap calls. Okay, how likely am I good here, right? Pot and snap call three-way. Yeah, I have top set, but straights beat me, flushes beat me, a lot beats me. And so I think, it's a big misconception. Everybody wants to highlight the hands where they make a great bet or whatnot. Really, I make the majority of my money in poker making big folds like that. I will guarantee you if I have the nut flush and another guy has top set there, I'm more likely than not going to stack him. And so, when you think about playing a lot of hands and these scenarios happen a lot, I'm going to lead for value here and for some protection. That's what the game is about. If I can make that fold and he can't, then man, I'm printing money there, right? When he go ahead and pops it up, he's repping the 4. Nothing I can do here but fold. I'll lead all my 4s there, so no big issue. It's a little different if he leads there for, way less. But man, when it's like checks around the turn and he snap pots it into 2 players, I just don't see myself being good there. Hardly ever. We can get 1 or 2 more spots here. As you can see, I'm not like a super fancy player. I play very solid. Just try not to put myself in really hard spots often. Stay out of trouble. And I think especially playing these lower stakes, you can just let other players make mistakes, which they're going to do a lot. Which, if you've watched this video or any of my previous few, you just see people are eager to give it away at some points. It's one of the worst hands I'll open on the button, 9-5 suited, but when it's folded to me, I still think I can show profit with it, so I'll open it. This flop, we have nothing. I think it's fine to start with a small bet or check back. I'm going to check back this time. Checks to us again. I might bet big because I can have every 8 here and check back every 8. When it's checked to us, I'm just going to fold, or bet into us, I'm just going to fold. And we're obviously opening the jacks here. This is the guy that defended the deuce 4 off. So I'm going to start with a bet here. I might check back versus a lot of other players, but I mean, if he's calling deuce 4 or deuce 4 suited, if he's calling that, he's calling every, every deuce and every 4. I can start to get a couple streets of value against him. Here we flop absolutely nothing, but we're going to start to bet. Important here that we fold out like, 3s, 4s, some hands like that. Start to put a little heat on. Small bet usually accomplishes that. We do get check raised. Nothing to do but fold. Fine taking a small stab at it though. Let me go a couple more minutes here. I expect I have 2 sons that are napping. I expect one of them will be waking up here pretty shortly. So we'll give it a couple more orbits or another orbit and then probably log off. I really thank you guys for tuning in though. Again, I have some really fun, cool poker stories from the past. I never really played like the massive high stakes, but I knew a lot of those guys that did and hung out with them a lot at nightclubs and restaurants and things like that back in the day. This guy limps the button and we flop. We 5x with 9s. We flop top set. We flopped a lot of sets today. That's really nice. It's a dry board. I'm going to go ahead and start with a bet. Probably the worst turn in the deck again. And we get shoved on with Jack 9, nothing to do. I'm actually going to peel one here to a min bet, getting 8-1. And I'm going to go ahead and check here. Jack 10 gets there. Every club gets there. We're definitely not going to fold. And that is an amazing river. Now we have second top boat. And we're just going to hope he has the ace of clubs. Now we just fold. We had backdoor diamonds, some backdoor straight stuff here. So for 50, for 1 big blind, we went ahead and called. I'm going to go up big here. Pretty close to pot. And we do get called, which is always nice. Here we defend the queen 5 suited to a min raise and a call. We get let into for half pot. This player is really crazy. He's done some crazy stuff this session. We're not like fist pumping calling, but we're not hating life either. That's pretty tragic, to be honest. He had the ace of clubs, so he had ace 4. I think we could have got more for sure. Probably should have considered checking a little more, but I honestly didn't think about it much because I don't think players tend to. I'm gonna go ahead and fold this actually right here. When he pots out, he's gonna jam river. I'm fine just folding. What was I gonna say? I don't see a lot of players just limping an ace on the button, is why I didn't really consider it. That's probably good to note there for that guy. He just limps ace 4 off on the button. Just fold here. I was really hoping to get paid by just some other club. some other kind of thing. And I figured if he also has a full house that's less, he's going to go ahead and raise it up. I thought he might even raise that size bet with the ace-high flush. Coffee's starting to wear off. I'm going to go ahead and sit out. But yeah, I do link on my bankroll challenge videos. I break down a hand every time I go through it, and I tell a fun story from the past. I have some pretty cool, fun poker stories from the past, so check those out. I can link those below. I really appreciate you guys tuning in again, and I did write a poker book too about a year ago. It's called How I Made $1.7 Million Playing Poker. It's 1.8 now, but I pretty much share everything I know and a lot of mindset. You can tell me playing. I don't put myself in really bad spots. I tend to play pretty solid, and I really believe you win most of your money in poker off the table by not tilting, by making sure your mindset's strong and things like this. And so I talk a lot about that in the book too. We're really good at making votes this session. That's also a great way to win at poker. I'm not sure he has much when he checks back the turn. But we have a monster. We're gonna go ahead and just bet real close to pot. Didn't think we were gonna get called there much, but hoping he just somehow had a king there. He did check back the king before, or check back the queen when it was top pair before. So I thought maybe there's a decent chance he checked back when the flush got there, and we could get him to pay off one big bet like we did last time. He checked, so I'm happy to check back here. I'm gonna do here, but check again. Pretty happy to take my showdown here with ace jack. Think we win a decent amount. Do we chop it? No, I think we win. No, we chop it. Really good spot here, obviously, as we get 3-bet. He has a really small stack with the aces. He only has, we'll just rip if everybody else folds. Really nice there that we get cold 4. And so he's just trying to ISO. If he had a little bit more, we would just call. But if we call the 6, actually, he can shove back over. Let me think. If I put in 6, yeah. He can shove back over. So I might just call and then let him rip and then hope that he rips again. Oh, I think I did that wrong, man. There we go. Okay, so it doesn't open it back up. That's what I was hoping, is it opened back up. So you can see I'm not a tournament player, man. That was a mistake. Still pretty happy here with this result, and my hand should not look like aces as I just call. Let's hope to cooler ace king. Goes for 6. We have the ace of clubs. So small. I think I can go for a raise or a call. I'm just going to call with the ace of clubs. That's a real bad turn. It should slow him down, I guess. If he has like queens, jacks, which we're probably going to get a lot more money anyway. I think he's going to think I never have ace king or aces, just because I would have ripped pre. I think it's a lot of queens and jacks now. I'm going to check back and try and get another street versus those. Having the ace of clubs here too is kind of interesting, where if he checks to us, yeah, I think I can make it look like I'm trying to buy my way out now and really try and get called by queens or jacks. I'll literally be sick to my stomach if he shoves. But yeah, it's a good result. And I'm going to definitely go ahead and guess queens or jacks. Open up the ace king suited next hand. Yep, pocket jacks. So again, it's good to kind of work through that hand and put him on a range. And important to get those last, like, forget the size of that bet, but something like 32, 34 big blinds. Obviously a good turn. I'm starting to think if I want to take a line where I want to try and get called by a jack again, or if I want to go big, and if he has a worse ace, he's never going to fold. I think I'm going to target that. He's a tighter player. He's probably going to fold a jack. Unless it's a really small bet again. No flush draw either. It's pretty fine with that. Overall, good session though. Happy with it. I don't really even look if I win or lose most of the times. Just try and get better, think through the hands, and really enjoy playing. So I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and log off today. You go have the greatest day of your life. And, if you got any poker questions, comments, anything like that, it always really helps the channel if you give the video a like and throw a comment down below. So I appreciate it. Have a great day, guys.